it's a tough job. Okay, good morning, everybody. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Calling the roll for the Monday, January 6, 2025 Board of Control meeting. It is 11:09 a.m. We have Councilmember Meredith Turner,
Here.
Councilmember Robert Shepler,
Here.
Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever,
Here.
Catherine Gallagher serving as an alternate for Chris Renee, County Executive,
Here.
Michael Chambers Fiscal Officer serving as Chairman,
Here?
Paul Porter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I will make a motion to approve the minutes from December 23rd. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to approve the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Is there any public comment?
No public comment?
Okay, very good. And I'm sure, Councilmember, you have been informed. Ask any questions, you're ready to go. Okay, great.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to our first item, please.
First item, new item for review, BC 2025-01, Department of Public Works, requesting authority to apply for grant funds from Ohio Department of Natural Resources in the amount of $1,719,314.50 for the Euclid Beach Connector Trail in connection with Land and Water Conservation Fund Outdoor Recreation Legacy Partnership Program for the period October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2027, and submitting a grant agreement with said authority to apply. Let the record reflect that Councilmember Michael Hauser is now present.
Nicole English from Public Works. So this is a grant that we applied for and were awarded through ODNR for the Euclid Beach project. I know there was several questions that were asked ahead of time, including the funding breakdown that we have shared with the board.
Thank you, Ms. English. Are there questions from the board on this item?
I have a general, I'm so sorry,
Yeah,
general
please.
logistics question.
Yep.
When we see something about a cash match and we're using the county's general fund, is this a relatively common practice, or is this something that's just more intermittent throughout the year?
I would say for most of our federal aid, there's always going to, a lot of our grants will be a cash match, and that's what, it'll be listed in the details. But yeah, it's common.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it varies depending on
Percentage.
percentage. It could be
requirements, yep.
90%, match, 80%, depends. Yep.
And to go a little bit further, we would specify the percentage, like this says 100% cash match. If it's something where it's like a funding split, we would specify that on the agenda to try and give as much info as possible.
Great, thank you.
And this is 100% match to the grant. It's not that we have to, there's not a 50-50 for the whole project. Just this grant, we have to match 100%, so.
Any further questions? Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2025-02, Department of Public Works submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Office Revolution 2 LLC in the amount not to exceed $31,898.90 for joint cooperative purchase of office furniture for the Cuyahoga County Animal Shelter and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, everyone. Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works. I apologize now if my voice goes in and out. Getting over a cold, I have no voice. So this first item, we're looking for approval of a purchase order with Office Revolution. This is for miscellaneous furniture to complete the build-out at the county animal shelter. The procurement method was a joint cooperative through Omnia Partners, which those are previously been or negotiated for government use.
Thank you, Mr. Pavich. Are there questions from the board on this item?
No questions, but it's been a while since Councilwoman Simon and I were there. Maybe we can have an invitation in the future, especially
Yes,
for our
we're
new
getting-
council member.
We would love to host everybody out there, and if you want a dog, come see us. But we are getting ready to do the ribbon cutting on the new expansion at the animal shelter, so you'll definitely all get an invite to that. The room is pretty much done. This is some last pieces to put the furniture.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no further questions or comments, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2025-03, Department of Public Works submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to American Interiors Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $22,338.79 for joint cooperative purchase of various types of office furniture for the fourth floor council room and second floor shared conference room at the County Administration Building, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning again, Tom Pavich, Public Works. This is a purchase order with American Interiors. As Cheryl said, this is just to complete the furniture purchase for additional pieces for the fourth floor council chambers. I believe it was 2 tables and 4 chairs for support staff, as well as to refinish the second floor conference room with tables and chairs. Also being procured off the Omnia Partners joint cooperative.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Just a question of clarity. What's the bidding process for the different furnitures throughout the county?
So typically everything, Paul, you can chime in when you want. Typically, for facilities, a lot of the furniture will come through Public Works. We usually engage, we try to match furniture. So if it's existing Ohio Desk furniture or American Interiors furniture, we make sure it matches. Often we find that a lot of the furniture is on a joint cooperative or a state contract purchase, and those are always typically bid by those agencies or negotiated by those agencies. So these last two, this one with American Interiors, this was through the joint cooperative Omnia Partners, which is an approved joint cooperative with the county. Those are typically bid or negotiated through Omnia Partners for government agencies to take advantage of. It could be schools, cities, counties, states. They can take advantage of that group buying power from previously bid and or negotiated contracts for furniture. That's typically the main avenue that we take for furniture. If we can't find it on a joint cooperative, we'll bid it within our department informally or formally, depending on the dollar amount.
Are there any additional questions? Okay, seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2025-04, amending the end date to read August 29, 2025. Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with Clark Anthony Construction LLC for automatic door repairs and preventative maintenance for various county locations for the period August 30th, 2023 through August 29, 2025, to add funds in the amount not to exceed $49,999.
Good morning, Tom Pavich again, Public Works. We're looking to amend the contract we have with Clark Anthony. We did a competitive bid back in, I think it was last year. We bid it informally. This is for a vendor to come in and maintain our automatic swinging doors or ADA doors. It was a proactive contract. We never had that in place. We have them, right now they come out twice a year to do preventive maintenance. They also do repairs and or adjustments as we need those. This amendment is just to take us to the end of the contract period, which is the end of August of this year. So we have enough funds, and then we're gonna bid this as a formal competitive bid within the next few months.
Thank you, Tom. Are there questions from the board on this item?
I was here on last Wednesday, which was New Year's Day, and I learned that there had been some problems with the front doors being open, and that there allegedly had been some of our street corner guests who accessed the building when it was supposed to have been locked. Do you know anything about that?
I'm not aware of that. This contract only includes county buildings that are owned, so we lease this building, so the county administration building is not part of this contract. That would be something through Geis, but I mean, I could talk to you after, we can look into that and find out with Geis.
There should be a security guard in the lobby at all times as well, but yeah.
Well, on off times, they do walk the building, so sometimes they're not sitting at the desk, but I'll
Where those doors should be
take that
locked.
back up to the director. We'll talk to guys.
Okay, seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Item approved as amended.
I'm sorry, you're right, as amended. Thank you. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2025-05, Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with SAW Incorporated for interior building services at the William Patrick Day Center located at 2421 Community College Avenue, Cleveland, for the period July 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2025, to extend the time period to January 31st, 2026, to remove and replace Exhibit A of the original contract with revised Exhibit A, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $128,916.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, again, Public Works. This is approval of an amendment with SAW. So the county took over ownership of the William Patrick Day building last year. When we took over that building, we took over the custodial contract with SAW. We only had a contract until we figured out what was going on with the building for 7 months. This is extending that contract with SAW for a full year. The SAW, it's a nonprofit. It was founded in conjunction with the BODD years ago. They provide work and training opportunities for individuals with developmental disabilities. So it's a really good and proactive contract that we have with that company. The $128,000 includes support staff as well as all the cleaning supplies for that facility.
Thank you again, Tom. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Schlepper. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2025-06, Department of Public Works recommending an award and submitting an agreement with the United States Department of Agriculture, Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, Wildlife Services, in the amount not to exceed $9,706.95 for animal and wildlife control services for the Cuyahoga County Airport for the period January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025.
Good morning, Tom Pavich again, Public Works. This is approval of a government cooperative with the USDA. We come before you every year with this contract. They provide animal and wildlife control at the airport. It's a government cooperative, so it's not necessarily bid out, but the USDA, they're fully versed in FAA requirements and regulations to maintain the properties.
Thank you, Tom. Are there questions from the board members on this? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item?
Next item, BC 2025-07, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an amendment to a contract with Sophia V. Cook for psychological evaluation services for the diagnostic clinic for the period October 10, 2023 through December 31st, 2024, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2026, to replace the insurance requirements, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $40,000.
Marie Andel from Juvenile Court. This is a 2-year amendment for clinical evaluations of those persons ordered by the court to undergo the evaluations, and is limited to attendance at court-approved training sessions, pre-evaluation, case consultation, collateral contact, review of collateral documentation, interviews, interpretation of psychological test results, report preparation, dictation reporting, dictation review, and testimony. This is 100% funded by the Health and Human Services levy. The changes in the insurance was umbrella, excess, and cyber were added to the amendment.
Okay, thank you, Marie. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2025-08, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an amendment to a contract with Dr. Douglas E. Waltman, Ph.D., Psychological Evaluation Services for the Diagnostic Clinic for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2026, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $100,000.
Marie Andel from Juvenile Court. Dr. Waltman, this is a 2-year amendment for clinical evaluations, just as Sophia V. Cook was. So he does like review of documentation, interviews, interpretation of psychological tests, report preparation, dictation reporting, review, and testimony. He did not have any insurance changes, but he did have a unit rate change.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board on this item?
Yes.
Please.
What type of evaluation process do we have for both of these doctors to know that they're doing a good job?
Our detention services, the director or deputy director, they go through and evaluate how they are with the youth, and they provide updates, and they fill out the evaluation of how they are doing.
And where can we find these evaluations?
The evaluations would be in Infor under contract management,
Okay, thank you.
I have an
under the
addi-
contract number.
I have an additional question as well. When we think about how are we vetting these individual candidates, so Dr. Douglas Waltman, what does the vetting process look to select that practice or that individual to provide these services?
Well, we have previously done RFQs. So Sophia Cook was through the RFQ, she was the only one that responded in 2023. Dr. Waltman has been with juvenile court for many years, in addition to other doctors as well. And the only reason he wasn't part of the RFQ is he was supposed to retire, and then he changed his mind and came back. So that's why they're two different
Great, thank you.
contracts.
Thank you so much.
Are there any additional questions? Okay, seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Schlepper. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item's approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2025-09, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an amendment to a contract with City of Cleveland for Community Diversion Program Services for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2026, to replace the insurance requirements, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $82,800.
Marie Endell from Juvenile Court. This is a 2-year amendment with the City of Cleveland for our Community Diversion Program. They implement effective services with a focus on rehabilitation and accountability versus deterrence-based sanctions. This includes skill-building groups, restorative justice programs, community service, and mentoring. This original contract was in the amount of $44,700. Approval of the amendment will increase the contract total to $127,500. The insurance did change. They added umbrella, excess, and cyber to these.
Okay, Marie, thank you again. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2025-10, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Case Western Reserve University in the amount not to exceed $31,670 for monitoring of the high-fidelity wraparound program for the period July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2026, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Marie Endell with Juvenile Court. This is a 2-year contract with the vendor Case Western Reserve Fidelity Monitoring Service. The vendor shall provide evaluation for the high-fidelity wraparound model to ensure adherence to fidelity standards. A high-fidelity wraparound program is required for the RECLAIM grant. This contract is 100% funded by this grant, and the funds shall not exceed $31,670.
Okay, thank you again, Marie. Are there questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2025-11, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendations to various providers and the total amount not to exceed $400,000 for adoption services for the period January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2026, as listed in items 1 through 19 on the printed agenda, and submitting the master contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Children and Family Services. Again, this is a master contract with various providers for our adoption services. In accordance with state and federal rules governing adoption, individuals and families are allowed to select an adoption agency of their choice to facilitate their adoption. Additionally, in accordance with these rules governing adoption, a DCFS is required to consider any family who can best meet the needs of the child who is available for adoption regardless of the family's geographic location. Therefore, we are required to contract with vendors outside of the county and outside of the state. These vendors we are currently seeking to contract with currently have permanent custody children placed within their foster care network in which the foster family has expressed an interest in adopting, or the family has approved adoptive home study with the vendor and has been identified as a match with a specific waiting child.
Okay, thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board?
I had a question. So all of these are providers that work directly with the county, is that correct?
Correct.
Is this an exhaustive list, or are these just the ones that are up for renewal at this moment?
So these are the ones that we actually are having, that have kids placed within their network that we're trying to have adopted.
Thank you.
Are there additional questions? Seeing no further questions, I will make the motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Schlepper. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2025-12, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Reentry, recommending award on RQ 14946 and submitting an agreement with Cuyahoga County Public Library in the amount not to exceed $450,000 to oversee and administer the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Adult Basic Education Program for inmates in the county correctional facilities for the period January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2027.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez again with Health and Human Services on behalf of the Office of Reentry. The provider will offer basic education and GED training to inmates in the Cuyahoga County Jail and in the community-based correctional facility. The goals of this project are to improve education levels among participants, completion of a minimum of 1 GED subject, and to reduce recidivism. We did issue an RFP for this service. We did receive 2 bids, and this was the highest bidder.
Okay,
Award bidder, excuse me.
thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, moving on.
Moving on to exemptions, first item, BC 2025-13, Department of Public Works, recommending to amend Board of Control Approval Number BC 2023-452, dated July 17, 2023, which amended BC 2022-735, dated November 29, 2022, which resulted in purchase orders to various factory authorized dealers in the amount not to exceed $1,475,000 for vehicle and equipment repairs, parts and services for the period November 29, 2022 through December 31st, 2024, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2025, and to add funds in the amount not to exceed $450,000 for a total amount not to exceed $1,925,000.
Good morning, everyone. Tom Pavich, Public Works. We're looking to amend the factory authorized exemption that we have in place in Public Works. We've had this in place for half dozen years. This allows us to our staff in the field to go directly to factory authorized dealers for repairs. It could be a vehicle, it could be a boiler. We have 60-plus pump stations. A lot of them are Gorman Rupp. We have to use Crown Leaving. They're certified to work on Crown Leaving and sell those pieces parts. This is just looking just to extend that factory authorized 1 additional year and add the $450,000 of allowable funds. Keep in mind, every purchase order that hits this comes before you guys. So on today's agenda, there's actually a factory authorized purchase order on the back In the back of the agenda, it's with North Coast Equipment. They're they're, as an example, they're a factory authorized dealer for the Challenger lifts for our fleet division. So we have to have someone that's certified to work on Challenger lifts. That's just an example. You have to have that in place. It also gets our equipment, could be vehicles or boiler, back up and running sooner than later. So this is just to extend it and add additional permissible funds, and all purchase orders do come back before the board for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Pavich. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Okay, seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hauser. Councilman Hauser, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2025-14, Department of Public Works requesting approval to amend Board Approval Number BC 2023-751 dated November 20th, 2023, which amended various Board of Control approvals, which approved an alternative procurement process resulting in award recommendations to various vendors in the amount not to exceed $520,000 for the purchase of concrete materials on an as-needed basis for repair and maintenance projects throughout Cuyahoga County for the period December 19, 2022 through December 18, 2024, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2025, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $25,000.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, again, Public Works. This is another amendment to one of our exemptions in place. Excuse me. This one is specific to concrete. So in 2022, we did a competitive bid. We identified 3 local concrete vendors. This exemption allows us to create as-needed purchase orders with those 3 vendors. We're just looking to extend it and add only $25,000. And keep in mind, we don't use this exemption as much as we used to. Carr Brothers, one of the originally identified vendors, we have them on a master contract, so most of our funds is going towards them. But we keep this in place in case they want to go to Rockport or Contractor's Choice, or if our Facilities Division wants to go to Carr Brothers. So all these purchase orders will come back to you guys for approval as well.
I'm sorry, what are you saying, Cars, brother?
Carr Brothers, C-A-R-R Brothers, B-R-O-S. So we have them under a master contract. Most of our concrete for our road and bridge division comes from them. This just gives our guys additional options based on logistics. If they're farther west, they may go to Contractor's Choice. If they're farther east, they may go to Rockport, so.
Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions on this item? Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Next item, BC 2025-15, Department of Public Works, Division of Public Utilities, recommending to amend Board Approval Number BC 2024-408 dated May 28, 2024, which established a list of firms pre-qualified for work on the Cuyahoga County Utility Microgrid Design Project to add 10 additional engineering, procurement, and or construction EPC firms for services to be provided in conjunction with Cuyahoga Green Energy's microgrid and solar projects as listed in items A through J on the printed agenda.
Good morning, Matt Ruby, Department of Public Works. Back in August of 2024, this body approved Cuyahoga Green Energy to do an alternative procurement, as the item states, to solicit engineering firms and other such firms that can contribute to our microgrid or solar projects. This is actually the second time, we call this round 2, that we did this. So this particular item is the outcome of that. What we're asking specifically is to amend the approval, the list that was put in place and approved by this body from the first round to add these 10 additional vendors so that they're all co-termed together and they will all expire on May 28th of 2027. Just for a little bit more information for our new council members, so this list is then, it was done as an alternative procurement because the county will not be awarding any contracts off of this ourselves. We are working with and through Compass Energy Platform, who is the operator of the county utility. We have a multi-year contract in place for them for those services. So we vetted the vendors, we create the list, we give them the list, and anytime a project comes up, they will do their own solicitation from these eligible vendors that will then comply with our DEI requirements and a couple of other county pieces that are important to all of us.
Thank you, Matt. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Porter. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on.
Moving on to consent agenda items BC 2025-16 through BC 2025-18.
Okay, board members, these are just generally our travel and then our POs in the back. So if there's any questions on any of those items, feel free. Being the beginning of the year, it's a little bit small, so. Okay, are there any questions?
I do have a question.
Yeah,
about
please.
the invoice on the back from the city of Cleveland from, what's this, from 12?
Yeah, that's on the under 5K PO list that she's talking about. And that was in the questions and answers that council submitted.
Yes, ma'am. What is
yes.
this?
I have not heard back from the Board of Elections, so I attached the invoice that was in the, on the purchase order, and that's what was paid out to the city of Cleveland. And it seems like they needed someone there for fire inspection services.
Fire
So-
inspection.
Typically, like we had Firewatch when we redid the Huntington Park Garage and we were redoing the sprinkler system. So when the sprinkler system is down, you have to pay them to be on Firewatch in case something happens. So I'm not exactly sure what if at some point when they're running a certain part of the election, they have to have them on a sort of standby so that they're on Firewatch, saying that the sprinkler wouldn't necessarily handle everything if something were to occur, and so you're paying them to be on Firewatch.
Thank you, Nicole. Just wasn't familiar and wanted a little more description. Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay. Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as listed. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to approve today's consent agenda items, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are approved. Moving on to other business.
No other business?
Any public comment?
No public comment?
At this time, then, I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.